So, to answer your question, what's it really like to be a teacher? I would answer that question correctly, because it's all about answering questions correctly with no imagination. And that's why I don't believe I'm a real teacher. I feel like another brick in wall, another cog in education system. Real teachers actually teach and inspire and encourage students to learn about what they enjoy and find interesting. But there's never enough time for any of that. I say to my husband, I feel like a robot. And he says that's normal. And I say, what do you mean that's normal? And he says, that's what it's really like to be a teacher. Bloody hell, husband, are you telling me all teachers feel like robots? And he says, pretty much. And I say, I knew the education system was bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. And my husband says, I don't suppose you did know when you were a politician. And I say, I wish they'd voted me in. I'd have done something about this. And he says, but they didn't vote you in, so stick to new day job. And I say, I didn't feel like a robot when I was a politician. I had a dream. And he says, teaching is more sensible though. And I say, sensible? How is sensible going to solve out? And he says, you could try 26 different careers and still end up teaching. You might as well be sensible now. And I say, is that what you think, husband? That I fell into teaching because my politics career failed and I couldn't think of what else to do? And he says, pretty much. And I say, I can't believe you'd think that, husband. I wanted to change world, and when I realised I couldn't change world, I decided to shape young minds instead. Shape young minds, husband. And he says, I don't like the sound of that. And I say, well, it doesn't really matter, because I'm not a real teacher, am I? And I'll tell you why I'm not a real teacher. Watch and learn, husband, watch and learn. So that's when I take out some learning aids which I'd prepared earlier. I could use a blackboard, a whiteboard, or even a slideshow presentation, but I don't. I use colourful flashcards instead because I think they suit my husband's learning style. I know my husband really well, but I don't have time to get to really know my students, which is one of the reasons I'm not a real teacher. But to start at top, the reasons I'm not a real teacher are: number one, I tell my students how to answer questions correctly to pass their exams. Number two, I tell my students how to argue points correctly to pass their exams. Number three, I tell my students they must give up all other activities they enjoy to pass their exams. Number four, I tell my students to focus only on their exams to pass their exams. Number five, I tell my students to pass their exams or their lives will be eternally ruined. Number six, I tell my students to study harder to pass their exams. Number seven, I tell my students to pass their exams by doing mock exams. That's when my husband interrupts and says, I think I get the picture. And I say, so you don't want to hear all 26 reasons I'm not a real teacher? And he says that he doesn't, and he'd like a brew. And would I like a brew? And I say, yes please. And he falls out of his chair. And I ask him, why have you fallen out your chair? And he says, I'm fine, thanks for asking. And I say, are you all right? And he says, bloody hell, wife. That's the first time in years you've said yes please to a brew and not started a debate about it. And I say, challenging the system doesn't pass exams, husband.